of the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, as we did briefly discuss the work session dates, you have those in front of you starting next Tuesday, and then we can add or delete as necessary. That's up to you all, with the goal of having a public hearing on Tuesday, May 29th, and then, of course, with potential adoption by Tuesday, June 19th. We have to the end of June to work with that as necessary. Any questions on the schedule? A couple of other meetings coming up. I think some of you are aware that the Bluff project is moving forward, and there's a public meeting with VDOT scheduled here on Thursday, May 24th from 4 to 6 at City Hall. Like I said, that project is moving forward. We do not have a start date, but look for somewhere around June 1. And Mr. Dressler, representative of the city, had a pre-construction meeting, and everything is on track. There is a resolution authorizing my signing of all related documents for that project that was added to the agenda. So they're ready to move that project along. And then the other event coming up is the Memorial Day Parade and the Durant Road Bridge dedication on Monday, Memorial Day, May 28th. That's 11 and 1 respectively. And I want to note Dr. Lincoln Hooker putting a lot of effort into organizing the bridge dedication ceremony. Any questions on that?
He talked about changing the parade route. I don't know if that's happened or not, but he talked about starting at the depot and coming down Maple and going to the courthouse where they have their Memorial Day service.
Okay, I'm not sure. I know he did a parade permit, so I know that Mr. Dressler and Chief Morgan will be working with him on that route, but I'm not aware of any location.
Thomas is shaking his head.
Yeah, he's doing that. He's relocating the path of the parade.
Okay.
Mayor, he asked my permission to line up on our part.
So they will start at the newspaper and go to, and the parade goes to the Memorial Day service that they have at the courthouse. So it's not a big parade, it's just a recognition of service. And the bridge dedication is,
I'm not sure.
what is his name?
Gary
Miller. And that's going to be after the service at the courthouse.
It won't be at the courthouse, it'll be out at the bridge.
But it'll be after the service at the courthouse.
Yes.
We'll go to the bridge and have the dedication of the bridge.
And I think, Mr. Mayor, the dedication is going to be right there where our community sign tree is at. That's where he'll do the dedication. That's a safer area. And then once that's completed, then you can either walk or get back in the vehicle and drive around to the Cornerstone picnic shelter. And I think McAllister Church is going to be doing a little something there, I guess.
Well, reception.
Yeah, for those in attendance.
I remember that. That's right.
Okay, moving on to current projects. First, last Friday, staff had a productive on-site inspection with DEQ staff at the landfill. There were no significant compliance issues, and there were compliments on litter control among other efforts of staff. I just want to thank David Kimberlin and his staff at the landfill, as well as Mr. Dressler and Mike Kimberlin for everything they've done to improve operations at the landfill. It's very, very noticeable. We do want to work in the next few months to address some soil cover issues related to the prior sale, as well as address some erosion issues. So we may be coming to you for some requests for some additional funds out of the solid waste management fund for that. Also want to compliment staff for recent efforts to manage and haul leachate from the storage tank of the landfill in order for us to not have an overflow and be able to maintain regulatory compliance. Mr. Dressler and I were texting back and forth in church on Sunday, and we had staff working around the clock, basically just to keep pace. That's how much water was coming off the mountain in the cell and going into the tank. So we had 3 trucks in operation hauling that leachate to the wastewater treatment plant. So I just want to thank them for all their work. So Next, if you have not noticed, I encourage you to go down to what we call the community garden between Rural Avenue and the Jackson River. That's been cleaned up by a contractor. Thanks again to Mr. Dressler. Looks 100% better. And I know we've had some positive feedback from residents that live along Rural Avenue. We're also in the process of developing formal agreements with approximately 5 current users of those properties. So we have a formal agreement between those individuals and the city. Next, I want to compliment Keith Lights and his staff of the water plant for an outstanding annual state water inspection report and no violations or major issues identified over the past year. Department of Health did note the need to inspect and address water tanks because we've been planning that work and trying to coordinate that with CHA for a while, so that will be done over the course of this year. And then the next, as I mentioned previously, we've been working on a project to relocate a wastewater line and address some wastewater flow issues behind Maple Avenue, and that's associated with businesses in that area, including the Covington movie theater. And we were able to put a project together. We put that out to bid, and R.L. Johnson was the low bidder on that. About a $20,000 project. We may come to you in June to get some additional dollars on that project, but that's a long overdue project to address some wastewater issues there that affect a number of businesses. And then related to infrastructure, and you probably have seen it today and yesterday on Locust, part of the sidewalk repair and paving work that we begin scheduling over the next few weeks, we identified and decided to replace an aged water line on Locust Street. And Mr. Dressel, I don't think he has the water pipe with him today, but it was cracked and needed repair. And much like Maple Avenue, if we're going to put money into putting sidewalk and new pavement down, it makes sense to replace these old lines. And so we've decided to go ahead and replace that line with in-house staff. And we feel like we do have adequate funding in place to cover that project. Now, if we move on down Locust, we find additional water line that needs to be replaced, and we will come back to you for assistance with that. And then next, staff continues to explore long-term EMS options, and the things we've been doing over the last few weeks is reviewed operations in similar jurisdictions, we planned some site visits with some other communities. We've met with some state and regional EMS representatives. We've begun to complete the city's license application in the event that we would decide to move forward with city-paid staff, and anticipate a resolution in June for your consideration in that regard. And they've begun researching the RP process for contracted services. Also want to note that this has been an issue for I think a number of years. Staff has worked with Louisville Hospital Management to streamline the EMS reporting process, and we've had a favorable outcome with that, and there should be some streamlining that will reduce the amount of time that volunteers and paid staff will have to spend at the hospital for EMS calls. They will be able now to do that after they can leave the hospital, return to the station, and then provide that information back to the hospital. So I know that has been discussed at least for the last couple of years. Also want to point out that Dwayne Paxton will assume the EMS coordinator position on a part-time basis and be responsible for scheduling and soft billing processing. And then Tim Yancey will transition to the fire coordinator position while continuing to respond to EMS calls over the next couple of months. The next item, we had a minor boiler repair project at Jetta Watson Center, and you all know the age of that structure. And we got started. The contractor got started on that work, and it revealed a major project need. And we put that out through an RFP process and received a low bid of $38,600. If there's no objection from council, I was requesting in June a budget amendment to provide the funding for this project because we did not plan for that project. Again, we anticipate about a $5,000 minor repair, and we have no choice but to. It's okay, obviously, this time of year, but as we move into the fall, we'll need to have heat for that building. So. And then finally, I want to commend Eric Tyree, our Development Services Director, for passing the Virginia Stormwater Management Program Plan Reviewer exam. That's a lot of words. This certification allows him to combine it with 6 other certifications he received in erosion sediment control and stormwater management programs into a dual combined administrator certificate. This allows us to maintain regulatory compliance with the State Water Control Board and to be able to do to plan review according to state law. And I want to note that this certification is typically held by engineers, and it's got a very low pass rate. And he took this last Friday on the first try and was able to pass it. So that's very a very good thing for him to be able to do that. So with that, that concludes my report.
Congratulations, Mr. Tyree.
Thank you.
I've taken some of those exams, and at the end, you just hoping you pass. Just get me through this thing. Congratulations, I know it's a hard test.